Good evening, everybody. It's 6 o'clock, and we will call our regular council meeting of July 22nd, 2024 to order. First off, I would like to acknowledge that tonight we're holding our meeting, as well as where our community is. We're on Treaty 5 territory, and that's our traditional lands of our good neighbors, the Opaskwayak Cree Nation, as well as many other Cree and Oji Cree people. As also the homeland of the Red River Métis. So with that, I would just like to do a quick attendance. Everybody's in attendance, but I will make one note. Today, this afternoon, we've received resignation notice from Councillor Ward due to personal issues, and I just wanted to touch the bases, say a couple of things before we move on. Councillor Ward's been an invaluable member of our community and still is, and he's been dedicating his time and efforts to the betterment of the PAW as a councillor for the last 6 years or so. And throughout his time as a councillor, Councillor Ward has shown dedication, wisdom, and a genuine commitment to serving the people of our community, as well as not only our community, but the general area of northern Manitoba. A lot of passion for that, and he's always been willing to share his experience. He has a lot of past experience and provides some valuable advice that has a positive impact on our community. One thing to note, despite facing some personal challenges Bill has had over the last while, he's been remained committed to the duties and the dedication to our community, and so his passion for the Pond and North, dedication as a councillor and a community member has left a positive mark within our community. On behalf of all of the council and the residents of the town of Pond, I would like to express our deepest thank you to Councillor Ward. And I guess now it's official, Mr. Bill Ward, and wish him all the best in the future. With that, we will move on to an adoption of the agenda. Resolution.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Atkinson, resolved that the agenda be adopted as amended. We have 3 additions, 2 for in-camera personnel and financial issue, and also we have to add on Councillor Ward's resignation letter.
Right, any comments? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. So we got 5, yes. All right. Confirmation of the minutes.
Myself, second by Councillor Atkinson, resolved that the minutes of the special meeting, regular council meeting on June 20th, 2024 and July 8th, 2024 be hereby approved. All statutory declarations have been complied with.
Any questions with the minutes? Seeing none, call the questions. All in favor? Opposed? Moving on to some positive recognition before we get over here. Anybody want to share anything from the weekend before they start, or over the last few weeks?
Just from the weekend, just want to shout out the Clearwater Marathon that was held and a success again.
Yeah, no, it was a great event. I was out there participating as a volunteer, not as a runner. Lots of activity, lots of action, and it looked like a great hot afternoon. Seeing some pretty deep red faces of some of those runners. I know Councillor Hopper's grandson placed first in his age category, and 7th overall was in the male. So, and he's a U11 runner. So. I think he's probably a little bit quicker than his grandma.
It's a coaching.
It's a coaching, yeah.
And my granddaughter, Caitlin, she came in second.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Again, coaching.
Coaching, yeah. If you would have had coaching from his wife, maybe first. Okay, so I also would like to just pass on thanks to those that attended the kind of final close-up of the Canada Day sort of even better if meeting. Thank you to Moa and Trent and Carrie and Jomar and Jackson It seemed to be most of our community members, but that showed up. But also a shout out to Debbie Davison, who stepped forward this year to chair it going into 2025. And if you see your emails, there's a lot of activity and action on that already. So thanks to her for doing that.
Thank you for basically picking that up yourself, and spearheading it and pushing and pulling it all together. Right now, everything's laid out. Next year it should be really easy with more improvements as we need to. So good job.
Thank you. Any other recognition that anybody wants to share? Okay, citizen period. I was going to ask if we can, come on up for citizen period. We have a new visitor here, a new employee, I believe, new team member.
We've got a new team member, and he started today, this morning, and came from London. So it's our new HR officer here. We've had HR for a long time, so we gained experience. Look forward to join our team and contributing to the development of the town of Ibadan.
So if you want to share your name with us and maybe give the community a little update on who you are. You'll have to speak up in this room. It's terrible.
My name is Ibrahim. I'm from Iran, and I'm from the innovation and I am a very group here at Nasiwan in Iran. And I kind of love the town of Japan, and I was introduced to the community today, and to be something that I will be going to act, and I hope that the council, as well as the team, as well as my colleagues as well, I hope that they will give me support, and that to share my experience and knowledge, and I'm really to be part of this.
Well, welcome aboard. I'm sure that we will all get some time to meet with you in the future and have a chat, get to know you a little bit more. So thanks for joining our community. Like you said, it's an awesome community. Everybody in this room, I think, are pretty confident believes in that, and I'm sure you're going to grow to love it as well. So welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
All right, I don't see any other citizens here tonight for citizen period, so moving on to bylaw 81.
Resolution number 2024-149, moved by myself, second by Councillor Hopper. Resolved that bylaw number 4647, being a bylaw of the town of Quah, to name road within the MMF subdivision on Bell Avenue, and to repeal bylaw number 4645 be read a second time.
Okay,
No.
so this is the naming of Mayor Way, which is the subdivision by the new subdivision. Call question, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. We need this one for the second reading or the third reading. No.
Thank you. Resolution number 2024-150, moved by myself, second by Councillor Hopper. Resolved that bylaw number 4647, being a bylaw of the town of the Quah, to name the road within the MMF subdivision on Bell Avenue, and to repeal bylaw number 4645 be read a third time and pass.
All right, I think this is the same story, renaming the road to Mayor Way. This is a recorded vote. So call the question. Councillor Mensch.
Aye.
Councillor Allen.
Aye.
Councillor Hopper. Councillor Atkinson.
Aye.
And Councillor Mayor Murphy. Aye. And just scratch that out. So it's 5-0, all carried.
Resolution number 2024151, moved by myself, second by Councilor Madge. Resolve the council authorize the following accounts: pay period number 14 in the amount of $127,661.72. General checks number 28501 to 28564 in the amount of $205,113.88. EFTs in the amount of $83,396.39.
Thank you, sir. Any questions with the check registry?
Just a question, there's a number of checks payable to the school division, Best Beginnings, and I'm assuming those are coming from.
Yeah.
Maybe explain to.
Yeah, so that's, so when you see a lot of checks in the registry is as part of the Moffett, 2024 Moffett program, the grant that's issued there. So this, there's a certain amount of funds that get allocated to our community, and then our community just distributes those funds through to other people that have applied. So Best Beginnings received $8,500 for a meal bag program. The Blizzard received $1,500 for a community engagement event. Opascua School swimming lessons at $10,200. Opascua School also received $10,225 for gymnastics equipment. Margaret Barber Collegiate received $13,325 for life skills cooking program. Margaret Barber Collegiate also received $18,850 for fitness equipment. The guest list received $2,000 for the art program. The PAW Action Center received $4,500 for a recreation program. The PAW Library received $8,300 for community programs. The PAW Music and Fine Arts Festival received $4,500 for the adjudicators. And the PAW Roadrunners received $2,350 for swimming equipment. So,
I guess just for the interest of our citizens, those are grants from the Moffett Foundation. They have to apply for.
yes,
They're not just random, so
Right.
So there's a good example of a lot of money going back into the community.
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that's those things are applied for. There's a panel that reviews the applications and then awards them annually around this time of year. Is there any other questions on the check registry? Seeing none, call the questions. All in favor? Opposed? Oops, I just accidentally did this. Okay. Surplus equipment.
Resolution number 2024152, moved by myself, second by Councilor Madge. Resolved that council adopt policy GG120, surplus equipment as presented.
So for public, what people are wondering what this policy is. This is when there's equipment of value that's been that needs to be auctioned off, or it's no longer of use for the municipality. It sort of brings transparency and clarity to a process that allows everybody to sort of see it and bid on it. So it's been updated. Yep.
This question, I think, was mentioned last time. Are the lost and found bicycles included in that part of it?
The last time we did an auction, we did include the lost and found bicycles.
And that's
Yeah.
advertised when you're going to do it. Okay.
Yeah, that sort of just takes everything of purchasing, gathers a list of surplus items from department managers, so that would be included.
Is there, sorry, is there a date for it yet?
For now, there is no date.
Okay, so on this policy, everybody's good, so we'll call a question, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. All right. May financials.
Resolution number 2024-153, moved by Councilor Madge, second by Councilor Allen. Resolved that we accept the May financials as prepared by Controller as presented.
Any questions with regards to the financials? I know there's a ton of information in there. I have a couple of questions, but I don't need them answered tonight. But one question I would have, though, because the guys are here, the Vactor, is it back?
No, we're anticipating about a week and a half to probably 2 weeks it should be home.
Okay.
There is a little bit of issues as we open one compartment to look into the next thing, then the next thing comes, oh, now we found this, and it's sort of keeps snowballing. But we're still within the budgeted amount that we had set aside allocated for the repair.
Yeah, and then looking at your financial sheets, that is one having one impact on your financials, is that rental of the Vactor, so.
I'm sure they're not renting it out, eh?
Making money off us, yeah.
Okay, seeing that nobody has any question, call the question, all in favor, opposed, carried. Okay. Just wait, I need to get back to my other file here. Interest, oh, that's moved to, that's interest and penalty resolution has been moved to, account. Personnel, nothing, reports from committees. Where's my little cheat sheet? Somebody's got a gift up here that they're jotting this somewhere. Museum board, counselor, that's vacant right now. Chamber of Commerce,
No new meetings since last week. One will be coming up for the golf tournament at the end of August.
nothing on CDC. Destination marketing, you have Councilor Wards no longer with us, and as a counselor. Cedar Lake,
We have meetings on Wednesday and Thursday, and the AGM is this week after the scan.
perfect. AGM's on what day? Thursday or Wednesday?
Wednesday at 10 a.m.
10
Yes.
Well, so recycling,
Meeting Thursday.
meeting Thursday. Library board,
There was a meeting last week, however, there was, once again, not enough for quorum, so new date has not been scheduled.
KSD, no meetings. I guess one action, Bola, coming out of this, we should probably get some appointments for the next meeting of maybe just leave the blank on what we're going to assign to the museum board and to the destination marketing.
I have a question surrounding the library. So then, if there hasn't been quorum, has the vacancy been posted to date?
The administrator,
Yes.
I have not been aware that it has. It's not on the agenda either.
Okay. Thanks.
I'm sorry, maybe I misremember something. I thought we had said that we would wait until the by-election before appointing.
Okay, no,
I
yeah,
thought we
that's
did.
fine. Yeah, I
didn't
do.
want to change it again if we did get elected. I thought we did discuss that.
Well, I just think that we need to have somebody attend. Like, I can attend in the meantime until somebody wants to go, but we have a couple of.
Maybe if we have those emails going to the CAO, and she could say, hey, this means available to someone available,
Yeah.
but anyone can go rather than assigning and then having to reassign.
No, that sounds fine.
I know Trent was looking forward to being on a couple more committees, but it should be fair.
We have a meeting on Wednesday at 3 p.m. planning meeting. I will not, I think that's Wednesday, we have a meeting, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be out of town. I might be back by 3, but I'm not. That's why. It didn't sound right.
Okay.
That's not why I'm not coming back. I'll try and come back.
Okay, I guess any other council or updates? I know, I think I've given you guys an update that we had a meeting with the MP, Nikki Ashton, the last meeting. And since then, the Minister of Health did reach out to me. She's requesting, or they are requesting, just so I'm correct on the language, they're requesting that we meet with them on August the 12th, that I can come down and meet with them on August the 12th. So if council's okay with that, I plan on attending, and I might to make any commitments yet until I get some direction from council. That's what they want us to do.
Do we have a council meeting before the 12th?
We're not sure.
I don't think so.
Oh, no, the 12th is the second Monday of the month.
That is a council meeting.
That's council.
Yeah, no, we'll have to reschedule it. Can I get direction from council that I can reschedule and attend?
Reschedule the council meeting?
No, I'll reschedule that meeting with them because I don't want to reschedule council meeting. Obviously, we need Bola and myself here with the numbers that we have. But we'll attempt to reschedule a meeting so that I can attend Winnipeg to have this meetings with these guys. I don't want to make any commitment until council says it's okay for me to do that.
I don't have any issues with that.
I don't have an issue with it either, but if August the 12th is like a hard day for them,
Oh, yeah, we'll see.
let's reschedule council in order to make it happen.
Between the two, I would assume council will be easier to schedule.
So let me see, and if it is, then what we'll do. So I'm taking a commitment that it's okay that I can go and make these readings and go down and attend, and I'll provide the reports, and I'll have an agenda. I'll share all that. Bola will attend with me, and we'll go from there. Okay, so that's just wanted to be clear on that. And as mentioned, if it's a hard date on the 12th, then I'll go with the 12th, and we'll make a motion to move our meeting till the Wednesday or something, or another day. Okay. Any other updates from anybody? I know it's been a busy time in the last little while, for sure. Nothing, curfew, no updates, nothing there. Derelict building, want to give an update on where we ended up on the derelict building meeting on the 19th? Anybody want to share their thoughts?
Well, as
To the
we
public?
As we talked to it, our current bylaws for that are actually quite good, and they're going to be enforced. We're looking at a few other communities and simplify, taking the best of the best and amalgamating it into ours. And we're not going to wait until then. We're already implementing letters have gone out to people who have contravened our bylaws for derelict buildings, derelict vehicles, and all the rest of it. It's a good meeting, and lots of research was done on it, and we just have to do some minor changes to ours and just reinforce a bit more. Councilor Manage, you were at that meeting as well, so we want to.
Yeah, nothing further to add, just simply that we're going to start enforcing our bylaws, so not to be aware,
Stay
know
tuned.
that we want to start caring for our community, and the way we enforce caring for our community is through bylaws, so know that our bylaws will be observed, and hopefully we can start gaining some of that pride back and have a visually interesting community.
One thing I'll note that did, I guess I think you might have mentioned on the meeting as well, but the second CSO position has been hired. I don't need to give out yet, but we now have that fully staffed.
Yep.
And I believe Mike there mentioned that the hope is to have one day a week dedicated to this. There's going to be some boots on the ground for this, and we're not going to be letting it slide off the plate.
Yeah, and again, friendly reminders to your neighbors to clean up their act. And don't wait for the town to come by and actually issue letters. As Councillor Manage said, have a little bit of a pride in your own stuff, and then should it have to get forced. Even when it comes to bylaw enforcement, just so our community knows this, it doesn't happen overnight. Even when we're issuing letters and fines and such, if a community person or somebody doesn't want to do anything, there's a process that we have to follow legally as per the municipal act. Okay, with that, I know Sam is here, so Sam, did you want to give an update on the Lido Theater, or just what's going on there with regards to, we've got approval from the insurance company, and what's sort of the next steps you're looking at there?
Yeah, so we got the green light finally from the insurance company. There was some back and forth regarding tipping fees and ensuring they have enough quotes to move forward because of the scope of the work. The insurance company has selected a contractor that are comfortable with the scope and with the price. There was some additional back and forth that has to take place. So our next steps is to meet with the contractor. Hopefully, I was hoping to meet with them this week to get some safe work procedures, make sure that the way they're going to be performing the work is to legislative standards, and also that we're comfortable with how they're moving the product around, and that we're ready to accept it appropriately at the landfill. And we'll touch base with our local health and safety, our regional health and safety officer, to keep them in the loop, just to make sure that we're following all the right protocols for the safety of the public and as well as the contractor as a whole.
So I know the date, like when are we thinking this is going to be started?
So I'm hoping by the end of this week we can wrap up the safe work procedures, make sure that's all good, make sure that's all on board, and then we'll have to talk with the contractor, but I'm hoping they want to get it going on it as well. So 2 to 3 weeks, I'd like to for sure see this.
Do we believe that by the end of August this should be on and clear?
Yeah, that'd be our ideal target before school starts, getting this cleaned up and put away behind us.
Okay, perfect.
Are they doing the safe work procedure, or you're creating safe work procedure?
The safe work procedure will be created for the contractor, but is technically, indirectly doing the work for the town. We have to review and approve it. This nature of work is a little bit, like this type of work's not really common to me, so we will rely on legislation that demands it also.
Most of the time, you'd think that that'd be between insurance and whoever they hire. We're kind of most of the picture, otherwise we should have been able to put more pressure on to get things move ahead. So I'm curious why we're being asked to create safe work procedures when that will be part of their scope of work for the price they provided.
Yeah,
We're putting a lot of manpower into creating that, I'm guessing.
that's a totally fair point. It won't be my job to create them, but it'll be my job to review the ones provided by the contractor to ensure that they're to the standard of the health and safety legislation. So that may involve some tweaking with them and then some back and forth. That's why I felt it's just easier to have the regional health officer involved, because where we may have gaps in our knowledge that he will be able to fill for us. So we just bring everybody to the table, get it hashed out, and so I'll be more like an intermediary probably, but if he does something that's not appropriate, the onus will fall back on the town.
It's a similar process that you did with MMF when they built down there. You were in the loop during the whole phase, which is perfect. So it's
Well,
billable time too, probably.
and I think what Councilor Man's just saying as well is that we are actually the contractor. We're the sub, or they're working for us because the insurance company is just providing us the dollars to do the work. They're still working under the umbrella of the town, so we make sure that we do the right thing. But let's not do all the work for them if that's.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
No, that's good. It'll be nice to see that behind us, and I know that we will have some discussions later about some other things as well in regards to this area.
Yeah, just one question on that, the fencing, who's in charge of that?
Maintaining it, or
Keeping it in place, because it did get, I'm sure you're aware, it did get opened up there last week.
yeah, I wasn't sure if that was from the storm or whatnot. We will do a better job trying to put it back up. I didn't realize it was not. And I saw that it was moved a little bit by the video side, but
Yeah,
the report that it was down.
I got a picture of that too. I'll send it to you. It's actually more than moved a little bit.
Okay. The fire department's there currently writing it down as we speak. It's not in this time.
All right. No, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Sam. I mean, we look forward to this being behind us, and then I guess the next step when we talk about the Lido Theater, although this is still an open action item, is we need to get to the bottom line on what the compensation or what the value is of that building, so that we can make plans to move forward. So that'll be the next step. Okay, Crime Stoppers, there was a question regarding that. If you read the letter there, it's 25%, 25 cents per person, so it ends up about $1,200, so thanks just for information. Lakeview residents, everybody had a chance to go through that, just an update.
One question I have about that is why that's not open to the public.
I'm not sure. Is this a financial,
Well, I read it over, I just didn't see the reasoning for it, but maybe there is a reason that I'm missing. I'm just curious why it's not open to the public.
Should be.
Yeah, we can open that up. Okay, moving along here, that special service levy discussion, we'll move that into camera, because we really don't know what's going on, it's just a general discussion right now. General business, nothing, correspondence, managers reports, everybody have a chance to look at that? The manager report? No issues.
I guess, are we gonna move on, managers reports and then building reports, or are we considering that managers reports?
I was moving down the list
Okay.
here, so June report, that was airport, that was the, June report was from the manager report. The next thing I was gonna talk about is building inspector report, so that's what I do.
Sorry, just one question I had from manager's report. I believe it was under the airport. They were asking about a development plan and forming a committee for some development out there. So is that coming up on a future issue sheet or a future agenda?
I would think so. I have the same, I highlighted a few of those things too as actions, like because we know when action's coming through an actual inside of a report, it needs to land into an actual issue sheet so that it lands on council's.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is that coming forward? Because they're asking for council's input, but yeah, it should be coming forward properly.
Yeah.
It should be coming forward from the manager, the issue sheet is coming from the manager.
I know that there's the one from the CDC, and that will come through the CDC as an actual formal request. Is that the one you were talking about? Because that's the airport one.
It was under airport development plan.
Yeah, that's from the CDC. Okay, you okay now? Move on to next, move on. Building inspector report, Councilor Manage.
Yeah, I was just curious to know if our building inspector works based on what he does, or if he's on a contract basis.
It's an employment contract. So I have this, I met with him. So it's not a full-time staff, it's a part-time, and it's an employment contract. So he only works whenever you call him to.
But his billing isn't based on what he does?
The
Or,
time is spent on what he does. It's not flat.
so by issuing 2 permits in 9 or 10 months, he was paid for working those half an hour?
Yes, I think the application has to be made. If you look at what I attached here,
Yep.
aside from the permit, 2 permits we issued from December to now, we have a lot of correspondence, a lot of questions that people are asking me, and that is where he spent most of the time.
So out of all of these conversations that are listed, he still produced only 2 permits.
Yes.
That sounds like conversations on the street or in the coffee shop, not inquiries for securing building permits, because any one of us could drive down the street at any time and see many building permit requirements. So I don't feel we're getting dollar value here by having a building inspector in place as we currently have, and that should be addressed and restructured. 2 building permits in, what, 9 months or 8 months? That's not
We
something
need to
that's
keep in mind also that the building inspector is not our employee. So for us to give bold a direction on that, I don't feel that it's a conversation I should be having.
It's a process that's an operational system. We are looking for a way around it to have someone stand by as a staff in future, as part of our budget.
So, Bo, just for clarity, because just so I understand, he only gets paid for when he does work. He's not on a retainer or anything like that.
No, you only pays well whenever I get it works. Like if you call him, I'm planning to do this on my house, do I need a permit? So if you spend like 30 minutes having that kind of discussion with him, so he will claim for that in 30 minutes or 20 minutes. He will claim for it.
So it's completely a trust contract that whatever he says he does without valuation to it is what he gets paid for.
You know, he has to write something down. In fact, this will be the second time of we paying him since use of
And
contract.
this is the first report we've seen of his.
Yes,
since
if I started here, it was being paid for. This will be the second time, and by August 15, it will be 1 year as
Any other questions of that? Okay, and then there's the airport SMS quarterly report for information. Any questions of that? My only question was on that, was on those actions, they were actually overdue. Does that matter to us? Like,
Yes, that's a good question. I asked him when I saw some status that are overdue, and I asked him why. And by Friday this week, they will actually finish everything.
Okay.
Send an email to it.
okay,
I
yeah,
noticed
like you
that
said,
as well.
I don't know how valuable all this stuff is because it's an airport, but we just said it was overdue. I just saw it was overdue. Okay, perfect.
I'm sorry, and sorry if I can't do this. I had a question that would require us to back up. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Manager's report. And Bola, please don't take offense to this,
It's okay.
but we get the manager's reports, but I don't recall ever seeing a report on what happens in the CAO's office. It
Yes.
tends to be a collection of what the manager's doing, but, and again, I'm not putting you on the spot, I just thought,
No, one
you
council has, yes, thank you. Councilman, when someone asked me, Councilor Ali asked me the same question, I've not really had time to prepare, to come and prepare that comprehensive result by CA for the past 2 months now. So I will go back to that, but I'm getting so many things done at the same time. So that is why.
yeah. I know you're busy, just, it was the question that is that a report we will see in the future once you're a little more
Not
settled, I
only
guess we'll see the better.
that the council will see in the future, I'm actually compiling another report and regarding the number of complaints that when I started, I used to share that. Because the reason why I've been unable to get that report, I've not been getting accurate data. The data I got, all the data I got, they are not accurate. So giving that kind of interpretation will be kind of giving the wrong information and misleading information to the council. That was why I suspended that as well. So I'm working on that data, and I've already talked to people that are collecting data for me, and I changed the way the data should be collected to be able to give the correct information.
And just for clarification, there has been CA reports in the past. That's actually why I asked for one, because we hadn't seen you for a couple months. There has been.
Yeah.
I'll go back.
Yeah, like we said, I mean, we know you've got a lot on your plate, and if you look at the reports that are being put together, a lot more extensive than we had in the last 4 years, so thank you for that. Okay, nothing else on the airport citizen period. There's no, unfortunately, citizens here tonight, so we're now moving. So. Oh, yes, sorry, yeah. We had one resolution that we needed to pass, which we...
Just before I do that, on your committee reports, do you want to give just kind of a brief summary on our Highway 283 meeting?
Oh, yes.
For the public to
Yeah.
get an idea of, it's going to be a long term,
Yeah.
another 2 years, of what's going on.
I did write that down, actually, and I forgot. Yeah, so we did have a meeting on Highway 280, on Highway 283 with the provincial government on, provincial government's consultants, WSP, who are looking at the functional design and sort of how the highway sort of would be upgraded coming from the west. And what they were looking for is community engagement. They're talking to the RM and other stakeholders to ensure that they understand any of the constraints that might be in place for this design. During our meeting, it was about an hour on Friday afternoon around 3 p.m. I think most of the council was there. And what we talked about, what we shared was, you know, the importance of having this highway being upgraded to RTAC ratings so that we can handle heavy loads, 7/24 sort of thing, 365 days a year, but as well as to, you know, get it paved and such, which would address some of the issues with regards to the downtown dusting area. We also was brought forward a challenge on the route of traffic, and you know, our hope is that on the economic benefits of Highway 283 and opening up this western corridor, we would hope to see a lot more traffic coming from the west, heading up through Churchill, which would then generate a bunch of other off-spin businesses within our area. But it also brings the concern of all these additional traffic coming down our main street in our community. So there was some conversations and shared some concerns with regards to those part of the design for them to keep that in mind when they are looking at the design, and if there's a way of going around on different routes. And we know that this has been looked into and evaluated many times over the last while, and I know Sam as well, and I don't know Tender was in that meeting as well. The other thing we talked about was ensuring that we do the entire route, so this is a two-province sort of project. It's not going to make a lot of sense to upgrade from the provincial highway in Manitoba border down to Gordon Avenue, on the Fisher Avenue, and then forget the rest of the province of Saskatchewan has done nothing to change there. So from what our understanding, there's a lot of lobby groups, Gateway Kuwait Corridor Group, Hudson Bay Route Group, and I know the provincial governments are talking to ensure that this economic driver, this part of the upgrade is ongoing. So good news. I mean, it is something that, you know, at least they're talking and the design is being done. This is not a next year project. This is going to take a few years to start seeing some real movement there. They're into the design phase right now. They hope to have the design phase sort of done, I think off the top of my head is sometime next year, and then they would start tendering, and then the year after, 2026, start building.
And just before they do that, they did say there would be public consultation.
Yes.
Because when they come into town, whichever route they come, properties are going to be affected, and
Yeah.
the community is going to have ample opportunity to voice their concerns,
Absolutely.
whether they think it's a great idea or not a great idea. So
Yeah.
we will keep them informed of that as well.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. No, there will be a lot more consultations, yeah. This meeting that we had was our first meeting, and from our understanding, this was the first of many to come. They said 3 ultimately. Yeah, so more to come on that.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Atkinson, that council accept Councillor Bill Moore's resignation letter received July 20, 2024, effective on this date. And you gave your comments on Bill earlier, and I will concur with those.
Call a question, all in favor? Opposed, seeing none, carried.
Just a note, going forward until those seats are finished, majority will be 3.
Yeah. Yes, and then I know that there is a senior election officer has been selected or appointed. That's all of council's responsibility. We don't have any responsibility with regards to anything to do with the election. And there's a process that will follow, and you will see. So again, that's away from this council table.
The administrative process is going on, and council will get the updates by next council.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for us, as long as we're following the process, then that's all we need to know. Perfect. Okay, so moving into committee of the whole.
Resolved that we now move ourselves into the committee of the whole with Mayor Murphy and the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.
Okay. Card lot project. Well, I mean, I don't know if we need to talk too much about this. This has been on our project for, on our budget, on our agenda for the last few years. This is a serious controls issue, with financial implications. So my recommendation is we take the money out of the reserve and we move forward with this project.
You know, it's going to come in a little over budget, but the money, we have ample funds in the reserve.
Yeah.
So, again, like Kirk, we've talked about this for a long time. It's a payback system, for sure.
So we'll have a resolution at the next meeting with regards to that. And as Councillor Hopper has mentioned, we will take some money out of our reserves to cover the shortfall. There was I think some confusion in when we were budgeting versus what the actual dollar value came in for. And I think that difference is about $100,000. How much is it? 120,000 or something around there. So it'll be in the issue. It'll be in a resolution for next meeting. Next one, not quite maybe so easy, but water plants. Any councillors got any comments before we start?
I think you skipped
Done it?
water meter replacement.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, sorry, yeah, water meter. That's what I was talking about.
I think there was a recommendation in here to do it in phases. And I thought that was a great idea.
Personally, on this meter here, this project I struggle with. Yeah, come on. This is nearly an $800,000 project, and for me, if we're going to spend this much money, I know that half of it comes from Water Services Board.
60%.
But at the same time, is there that much value coming back to our community when it comes to this? And I guess I would be looking at sort of the business case and the financials. Like I understand the ease and all that sort of stuff and the city bells and whistles, but
Yeah, so I do apologize, we were hoping to have something a little more concrete ready for today, just kind of, yes, last week and today kind of got away on us, so we're building a bit of a business case. I want to refine it a little bit more, if that's okay, so we can defer this for one meeting, just so that we can build a better case. It is a big spend, we did have a few ideas, the 60% savings was sort of where we were hanging our hat. We have to replace these meters, most of these are already at the age where they need to be replaced. There's some data on the accuracy after 10, 15 years old meters. There's some savings there, so we kind of wanted to simplify our spreadsheets a little bit excessive right now. We want to simplify into a few graphs, a few charts, just to kind of tidy it up a little bit, so make sure we have all the information. And then maybe the three-year project, and also the installation. Water Services Board will take all of it on to tender it and find somebody who will install it.
That was somewhere where I had a question as well, was the installation. Were we not in past years doing the installation ourselves?
Depending on the situation. So some of the meters, when you're switching from the old style to the new style, the horn system is a little bit different, so it requires like some plumbing work. So our staff normally do the work. It's a little bit outside their realm of expertise. So we usually have to call a plumber depending on the scenario. And in this case, Water Services Board, as part of the contract, is willing to take all of that on and include that in the installation as well. And we can also move some water meters or liters at the same time, so there's a bunch of different.
Councillor Roberts?
So if we decide not to do anything, there's meters that's still going to have to be replaced, and there's still going to be a cost, so that's what you're going to balance everything out.
Correct. So we did some projections ahead saying, okay, if we replace 30 meters on average a year, or the 25 years it'll take to replace the 30 meters, how much more are we spending and how much are we not saving? That's one part of it. There'll be a few legs to the discussion that we want to refine a little more.
Councillor Roberts?
And what is the lifespan of the water meter?
15 to 20 years is what we were able to.
5 years before the first one.
We'll never get ahead again, sorry.
How many have been replaced already?
Pardon?
How many have been replaced already in
This year or in
total? You say that you got 745 that need to
1,200-ish.
Well, let's get the total picture, like you said. I mean, if we have to phase it, that's fine. I mean, I look at it as return on investment. If you're gonna spend that much money, I got $400,000. Is this the biggest project that I would want to spend $400,000 on? And understanding what the cost of water is versus, you know, if we're 20% less, how much revenue we're really losing, those type of things.
Sorry, so one other question here. If we decided not to do this, how many would you normally replace in a year anyway on average?
I think around 30 would be our, like, we want to go back to the table to make sure that our data is solid. So it fluctuates. So for a while, we were putting, when the previous assistant superintendent was here, we were buying $30,000 worth of meters every year, and our inventory got like out of hand. We were sitting on too many meters. It didn't make sense. They're just sort of paperweights in the room. So we got our inventory sort of back under control to a manageable level, but we are buying these meters regardless every year. So if they're only 60%. Because that was another recommendation they made, is like, what if in year one we just buy all of the meters while the price is at today's dollars, put them in a storage room, and then phase it.
And then 10 years they're obsolete, and there's newer, greater out there. And I'm not a big fan of that.
Another area that we have to consider, like I asked, what's the percentage of error?
Yeah, so they, just a quick reading online suggests that once the meters are around 10 years old, you can lose the accuracy range from 90 to 95%, whereas if you meter you're 99 to 100, so anywhere from 5 to 10% of accuracy you're losing in general. We tried to pull some data, because we had this discussion before, that's why he's smiling. We tried to pull some data to make that work, to show that, but it's hard to predict household water use year over year. You know, you have kids that go to school, they come back, they don't come back, maybe, you know, the home gets downsized, maybe they add appliances, maybe they buy a pool. So some of the data we had supported our thesis, and then some of it sort of contradicted it, so we didn't want to just cherry pick the data that was feeding our case. We would want
How do you choose which ones you're going to replace every year? Do you wait until something breaks down completely to replace it, or?
Yeah, normally, so if we have a difficult time getting into the person's home, it's a part of it. If it's like in a dank kind of crawl space where the staff just never wants to go and get a reading, or if we're in trouble getting readings, or like sort of and then the age, we sort of prioritize it. Like, we haven't got a reading here in a while, they're never home during the day, and so we sort of factor in all those cases, and that's how we have to replace them.
And I'm sure this will come in your next report, but I know a big conversation has always been about water accountability. Where is the water going? How much do you hope by changing these meters out that you're going to be able to narrow that down closer? Because you were at a point where, I mean, the majority of the water wasn't accounted for. Is this going to help that by 5%, or is it going to help by 35%?
So one of the parts of the installation that we're going to add to the scope of the project is having the contractor, if there's a bleeder in the residence, move it after the bleeder. So we think a lot of our water loss that's unaccounted for is just bleeders that are not being tracked appropriately. This will put the power back in our hand, right? We call them, we say your bleeder off, they go, yeah, we said, okay, because you're paying for your full water bill now, and we're tracking it.
We could do that today, though.
To start moving the bleeders.
Yeah, like you could do that without doing a $700,000 project. You could have a plan to do that today.
Correct. We have to hire a contractor and send them door to each place to do that. Yes. So we thought that this would fit.
You know, it's an additional benefit of doing this project.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But it's not isolated to doing this project.
Correct.
Okay, no, and there's no impact, like there's not like a timeline on the grant or anything like that.
No, they seem to be fairly flexible.
Okay.
Right now, there's not a big rush.
Okay.
But they do want to get, we have to get a resolution for support, so we can go into a contract agreement.
Okay, perfect. Okay, no, we look forward to seeing some more on that, guys. Thanks for that. Water plant reassessments, I think we just do that. I mean, that's a regulatory issue. I don't think it's questionable, so.
Yeah, one question I kind of had on this, and Sam, you just already answered it, but is the plan to eventually phase out all the bleeders, or put them
phasing them out would be challenging. Better tracking them would be our first step. We've looked at different technologies that have come around. Different communities have tried a pump system in the basement, so the water circulates through like a reader. It's when the temperature gets to a certain point, it starts to purge the line until the temperature gets so it doesn't freeze up, but it's not running all the time. The liability of installing that in someone's house, if it goes, like whose fault is it if it breaks, if it basement flooding. So I think it's Flin Flon that does the recirculating system like within their line. So for the cost of water, I think it's like 4/10 of a cent. Right now, this is probably the easiest way for us to manage this. In the water plant assessment, what we want to look at is how the effectiveness of the boiler, the hot water boiler.
Yeah, and I think there's big money to save there.
Yeah, so it was down for a good chunk of the season this year just for maintenance. And the water plant sort of was measuring temperatures of water in downtown to make sure that everything was sort of okay. And so we were able to leave it off for a good portion of the winter by accident. And there was, I think we saw savings of $75,000 this year on heating.
That's great.
And in speaking with previous people in my seat, the thermal, and they agree that the thermal loss based on what they identified previously and how our chief plant operator had sort of felt differently before, that thermal loss is lost within the downtown core. And the majority of the downtown core is already right fitted with bleeders. So are we sort of just wasting heat, 3 degrees of water if it's lost by the time it's faced through downtown? So because my neck might be on the line, I would like an engineering firm to confirm that before we take a drastic step, because it's a big step,
That's an outstanding project, though, guys.
but that's the savings could be.
Yeah, that's an employee of get the star on the wall for one.
Just a start.
So you get a sticker or something.
Yeah.
No, that's
Cold shower.
But this is the type of things when you're talking about continuous improvement, right? I mean, you know, you get the way you've always done it may not be required, and when you find some things by accident at times, but when you also look for other opportunities to, you know, get a couple of $100,000, that's a 1 mil rate decrease, or paving something else in our community that's or replacing line somewhere else.
Yeah, right back into utility
Yeah.
reserve or a savings on water
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah.
It's not something you would have intentionally tried.
No, well, yeah, they had some hiccups in the past, I heard before I started, where the boiler was down for quite some time, and there was ideas that, oh, that's why that line froze like on Bell Avenue, and everyone was like, that is not why that line froze, that was a different issue. Had nothing to do with the boiler, so.
That's great, Sam.
So what quantity or percent of our water is being lost through leaders? Then do we have a measurement on that?
We have a report on that.
Yeah, we do. I think it's around 30%. I can get back to you with the exact figure, but it's significant amount of all of it.
That's just leaders or loss in total?
Just liters, yeah.
And then, what is the capacity with that 30% loss? Or I guess, what is the capacity of our water plant? Are we at capacity to add any more? If there's a big water user that came on, like how much?
So our system is very delicate. So today would be a good example of how delicate our system is. The fire department in their efforts to put some water on the Lido had that hydrant at the corner of Giant Tiger full bore open during our peak use of summertime, and the south side of town was experiencing like low pressure.
East side of town was as well.
Because-
Tried to have a shower, it was
So like
twice the most.
just one hydrant in, like our system has got like different pressure issues. So part of the study as well, we're gonna look at the capacity that we have left.
Yeah, that's important.
We may have to add like booster stations around town, we may have to add chlorine stations or holding stations to kind of, and another project that we want to work on is completing the loop down the back road of Centennial to loop the entire system together. We think that should make a big difference, but that's something we have to kind of work towards. Also, that land down Centennial Drive is sort of mixed usage, so we have to make an agreement with our neighbors on this. And it's something that they were actually interested in at one point. Mr. Moore, Mr. Soul had mentioned they were looking at doing some development back there, but if we have
Yeah, and those are the type of things we need for economic development, right? We need to understand that, because if we have, if we're already at water use capacity, like we were having the same issue with lagoon capacity, then that has to move up our priority list, because we would want to get handcuffed and then all of a sudden have to wait 3 years to do the renewal project.
So that 30% loss, then how does that compare with other communities?
We're definitely a little bit higher than,
It's higher than 30% though.
for the leaders, just the
No,
leaders.
total loss.
Yeah, total leaders, just that was the leaders.
Meters.
So every time we install a new water line or replace a line, we are insulating it right from the main to the curb stop. Whether the homeowners are the same or not, we always recommend the new box insulated to help protect it. The new subdivision is a good example. They asked if they could put like a PEX line, and we insisted on it remaining copper, because if it does freeze up, we can thaw it a lot easier than the PEX pipe. And again, we got it insulated, we bury it at 8 feet. And with thaw wires, all the curb stops. So we're trying to take every step we can to improve it. There's just some areas in town that, if we remove the snow off the boulevard, it's like that whole block could freeze, which is like scary in terms of managing it. So we are probably a little higher loss rate than some other communities, because they don't have the same infrastructure demands that we do. But I remember before I came to the town, there was a community I was working with, they were at 35 or 40% water loss in total. So if we're at 30%, we just start with leaders, not to mention like the leaks and cracks in our piping. I suspect we're definitely.
But it's, we say we're 30% on the bleeders, but if we didn't have the bleeders, you'd be spending a lot more on repairing frozen lines and all the inconveniences.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's,
Number of phone calls.
It's kind of, it's kind of a double-edged sword a little bit.
So how much does lost water cost us?
About 0.4 cents per gallon. Like that's what 1 gallon costs us to treat and produce, about 0.4 cents. Last time we calculated that, it might be half a cent or maybe a sixth of a cent. We have to go back and look. Last
I
time
think it's even lower than that. I thought it was even lower than that.
the 4.10 sticks out in my mind. I could be a little bit off.
So how many gallons are you using?
expression, do that.
I have to do the exact calculations. I don't have it exactly in front of me.
Well, we can get that information sent to us, unless you need that to make another decision or decision.
No, you're not making a decision today.
They're gonna do that.
So I would like
Big
to
guys.
Yeah, compare water loss. I think it was in our last submission to I think it was in our last submission to utility board. We had to quantify
Yeah.
all that information, so I can find that draft of our submission.
So you can make sure, could you make a note to put that in our follow-up list of things that we're looking for unfinished business? Water usage, loss, cost, and then it should be broken down into liters and just in general, so we can add them to them if we want them.
That's one thing the utilities board is always doing, you have to be accountable for
Yeah.
the lost water.
I know we've seen that number before, I just can't remember off the top of my head. Anything else for Sam and Tanvir? Okay. First annual fishing, youth fishing donation, $250. I don't see any issues with that.
I'm just wondering if this went to the DMC first.
Anyway. You want to say no and send it to the DMC first?
To me, it just seems like a DMC thing. It's more, the one reason I'd be interested in saying no is because that budget line, I believe, is where we had $1,000 left for the rest of the year or something, that's what it said. So, we've got, what, 8 months to go?
You guys want to do?
How soon would they get back? How soon would that happen?
We don't even know the board's on the road. We don't know when they do. They may be asking that too, I don't know, nobody's, we could ask Paula to follow up with them. Should we ask Paula to follow up with them, and if they seems to be some confusion, just bring it back here as a resolution at next meeting? Or,
Yeah, it does say in the letter that they're, I know you mentioned it'll be August 31st, so we would be having a meeting before that, so we could,
okay. Well, could you forward that to DMC? I don't know who's on that committee now, but see if they are, but they'll have to, I guess, don't forward it to the DMC, contact these guys, these youth fishing guys, and ask them if they filled out the grant application to go to the DMC, because that's where they should go first.
I'm okay with this going forward as is, minus the DMC. I don't know, I know we're not going to vote, but I need to also say that.
Yeah, I am as well, but we can wait till next meeting, we'll get Councilor Allen mentioned it, we got a meeting on the 12th, so we can double check as well. Okay. Next thing is Blizzard installing an awesome big screen on the side of the wellness center, which is going to spruce everything up. And I guess what it's saying is that he just wants to make sure that if anything happens, he owns it.
Question, yeah, that's going to be huge. Like we have our reader board at the front that we need to step out or change, and so this will be a great addition from the town's perspective. Wellness center, we can advertise, we can do programming, things like their hockey tournaments at no cost to the town. Or is he going to charge us?
No, but I have no idea. I would,
Based on the information, it doesn't sound like, it sounds like it's Blizzard's sign, where the benefit will be the advertisers of the team. Doesn't sound like they're going to advertise minor hockey, doesn't sound like they're going to advertise things at our wellness center or our arena.
Be a question.
we can ask him, yeah.
Just, because we have a lot of things going on there. Part of the agreement would be, Omar, if they have something they want to put up there.
Yeah, I mean,
It's all hand in hand.
And we are in the middle of negotiating the Blizzard agreement, so perhaps we can.
and he's selling advertisements, so maybe there's some in-kind stuff that we can do there.
Does that mean the other sign will come down? Because it's currently not within our zoning bylaw, it's actually an illegal sign. Does that mean that one will come down and be replaced with?
Sorry,
Yeah, because it didn't follow, that sign, as much as it came to council to say, hey, do you hear the sign? I remember Councilor Atkinson had asked, hey, we didn't get to see a mock-up of it. We weren't presented with the size of it, which is outside of our zoning bylaw, which means it's actually an illegal sign, because it just kind of went up all of a sudden. So it's outside of our zoning bylaw, which means it's an illegal sign. They never paid for a variation to the request. So I'm wondering if that means that sign will be gone down, or are there going to be two signs that need a variation?
So when we looked at the zoning for large, I can't remember the name of the title of that section, but it was a large something signage, right? Yeah, it didn't have a maximum.
It does have its own in our bylaw.
Yeah, but based on the size of the wall that it's adhered to. So it's a percentage, I believe, I could be corrected, but I believe it's a percentage of the total wall space.
Percentage is portion, and then the actual size is the other requirement on what the actual size of the sign is. And if it's outside of that size, then a variation is required.
Yes.
We never went through that process.
Councilor Allen?
Just, you alluded to it, so just whatever council has to do, I would say we do a variation on both signs if that's required. Put them up. It's a huge wall there, so.
Yeah, and I could stand and be corrected because I'm not an expert on that.
I don't know, I like it, it looks good to me.
I know someone that used to have to deal with it, so.
Yeah, no, for sure, and you probably have a little bit more back and forth with that. But yeah, my recollection when we were reading through it was a percentage of the wall size based on the volume of the wall that we had plenty of room for that. But
Okay, so just verify that, Sam, I think council supports both the signs, and let's,
And see
if
if
there's something we can do to get something,
just ensure that we have some kind of use for it. Not that we're going to overtake it, but
yeah.
at least we can put it on our.
If he goes and put a hockey tournament on there, but again, I understand why they're doing that, is they need to sell advertisement to fund the team, so. Okay, that's all we have there. There's nothing on there. So we've got a couple of issues in camera.
Sorry, so are the Blizzard okay to install it because they want to get it installed before?
Yeah.
We would have to do variation beforehand.
That would, might, if we're required to do variation, that would be months before that process is completed.
Like, the first sign went up, and if it doesn't conform, we don't know that exactly. Just check and see, I would say, because if you want to get it up before the season starts and all of that, do it, it would be the first time we did a variation after the fact.
Yeah. Will we do that for all other businesses and people asking signs in the town of Paulo moving forward? Because it kind of sets precedent, right, that we can just do whatever we want if we ask for.
And
We have processes, right?
And in the past, that's happened, where a sign has, council did a variation after a sign was up, and they voted it down, the sign came down. So I mean, that's a risk for sure, but at the end of the day, if we don't do that, the sign is likely not going to get put up in time for him to get his revenue going, and that's the whole purpose of having a team there.
I'm okay with that as well. I mean, can we just get what the actual rules are, because this is all new to me. I didn't
Yeah,
know
we're
we were breaking the rules the first time.
We have to check this one back
Sure.
again and check the table, because if there's need for variation, because I actually went through this with them, if there's need for variation, we can do the process. We need to close this with the owner of this.
Okay, before you guys take off, I'll just, because there's one thing in camera that you guys can join in, so I'll share some information from our derelict property building meeting.
Sure.
But I guess with that, if there's nothing else, we've got everything, we'll move to in camera.
Resolved that we now move ourselves into the in-camera portion of Committee of the Whole with Mayor Murphy and the Chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.
Everybody's okay to move into in camera? Okay.